Right, Sarah? Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Jim.
And welcome to the meeting of the DASNY Finance Committee. First matter on the agenda, the meeting minutes from the January meeting of the committee, as we did not meet in February. So can I get a motion, Al, to approve those meeting minutes?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And none opposed, so that motion carries. Portia, just help me with some of the I know the first matter on the agenda, I believe, is the inter development.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, Interagency Council, and Alex is going to present.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alex.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. The Finance Committee is being asked to recommend that the board authorize one or more series of tax exempt and or taxable fixed and or variable rate bonds with a maturity not to exceed 26 years and an amount not to exceed 28 million on behalf of the Interagency Council of Developmental Disabilities. Proceeds from the Series 2023 bonds are expected to be used to refinance existing bank loans and to reimburse certain institutions for cash expenditures that were used to renovate or acquire certain properties used to provide services for the developmentally disabled. This will be the 16th transaction for the Interagency Council loan program. This will be a pooled financing on behalf of 7 participants with 17 projects, all of which have prior property approval or PPAs. Each borrower will have their own loan agreement, and some of the security features for this transaction will include: 1, a pledge of public funds attributable to all financed project; 2, standby intercept of these public funds attributable to each project; 3, a debt service reserve fund of 6 months of debt service; and 4, mortgages on real property acceptable to DASNY where available. The 7 borrowers in this pool are all 501c3 organizations that have a history of providing services to New York State residents who have developmental disabilities. These services are essential and state mandated. Just a bit of background on the PPA process. In order to initiate the development of a project to serve individuals with developmental disabilities, the not-for-profit provider is required to complete a CON or certificate of need, which is reviewed by OPWDD for compliance and need before approving of the PPA. The PPA evidences OPWDD's commitment to funding the project. Ultimately, the projects are funded through contracts and reimbursement agreements with OPWDD. PPAs are in place for all 17 proposed projects, and the projects are expected to have a replacement operator component. We anticipate a rating of AA2 for Moody's for this transaction. The state commits to supporting development and operation of the project if it is completed in conformance with the PPA. This commitment demonstrates the essentiality of community-based services to the developmental disabled population in New York State. The 7 borrowers in the pool have had experience providing needed services to this population. Accordingly, the staff report recommends the adoption of a resolution to proceed with the financing in an amount not to exceed 28 million. Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Alex, for the thorough presentation. Any questions, Mr. Chair?
Just for the record, I didn't hear it. You probably said it, Alex. The debt service reserve fund, would you just let us know what the value of that is as a percentage of the outstanding debt? And I'd like to understand whether it's a pooled debt service reserve fund or whether each borrower has to stand by, provide a debt service reserve for the amount of that particular borrowing.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The debt service reserve fund will be funded separately by each individual borrower. So each borrower will fund their portion of the debt service, and it will be funded to the amount of 6 months of annual debt service.
Okay.
And Alex, I guess those mortgages, to the extent they get placed, some of them will be subordinate to a first mortgage, I'm assuming, but it really doesn't matter. Whatever they can get, they can get. Is that basically the plan with those?
Right.
Okay. Do I see Beryl there? Beryl is the other, I don't know whether any other board members have any questions or concerns.
No, I'm fine. I thought it was a good presentation.
Okay, thank you, Beryl. Okay, well, I don't know who else is on or anything. If anybody else has any questions, feel free. Otherwise, hearing none, I'll ask Mr. Chair to make a motion to approval at the board meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend approval of this proposed financing to the entire board when we meet later.
Thank you very much, and I'll second. All in favor, aye. None of, so we recommend that be approved in a few minutes at the full board meeting. Thanks very much.
Hey, Chairman Romsky, I just want to note for the record that this is Alex's first ride on a bicycle without training wheels, and did a wonderful job. Way to go, Alex.
I was going to mention that there, Mr. President, but it was such a thorough and presentation. So thank you very much, Alex. It was an excellent job. We look forward to many, many more coming from you. Next up, Portia, is a school district bond, right?
He's going to present that.
What's that, Portia?
And Dave Oster is going to present.
We've got a crossover sound problem. When two of you are talking, can't hear either of you.
Yeah, Dave Ostrander will present.
Okay, thank you. I'll go on mute then, I guess. Let me see if I can do that.
I wouldn't know where to start.
Good morning. The Finance Committee is being asked to recommend to the full board multiple series of bonds in an amount not to exceed 1.5 billion to be sold through multiple negotiated offerings on behalf of various New York State school districts. Proceeds from this issuance may be used to refinance the bond anticipation notes or bands of various New York State districts, to finance new money projects on behalf of these districts, or to refund bonds issued by DASNY through the school districts program. As in previous years, staff is requesting authorization to meet current demand from school districts for a new money and band refinancing pool closing in June, as well as to accommodate additional demand that could occur later in the year. As we've discussed with the board in the past, school district participation in the DASNY pool is primarily rate driven. And when school districts issue bonds, they can receive building aid reimbursement from the state in one of two ways. The first is school districts can issue their own general obligation bonds, in which case they receive building aid based on the statewide average interest rate from the previous year. The second, school districts can issue through DASNY, in which case they receive building aid based on their actual cost of borrowing. And since the reimbursement rate from the state lags behind current interest rates, when we're in a declining interest rate environment, we tend to see more districts issue on their own. And when we're in a rising interest rate environment where we are now, we tend to see more districts issue through DASNY. Just to give a little bit of context, this is the first issuance under the school districts program back in 2002. We've issued over 7.7 billion in bonds under the program on behalf of 325 school districts. Our new money issuance last year was the largest ever for the program at 759.1 million, providing long-term financing for 66 districts. And as I mentioned, with rates continuing to increase for 2023, we expect the new money pool to exceed that 2022 financing based on the initial feedback that we've received from the school district's financial advisors. The structure and security features will remain the same as in previous school district pool. It includes semi-annual payments made pursuant to financing agreements that are backed by the full faith and credit general obligation bonds of the participating districts, a statutory intercept through the state comptroller of any state aid due to those participating districts for debt service on DASNY bonds, as well as bond insurance if available and economically advantageous. Mr. Chairman.
Had to unmute myself. Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, any questions or concerns? I know we did this like last year, pretty recently, right? We did that 751 and I thought we added something. So, but I realized during an interest rate environment that we find ourselves in, like you said, this program becomes more attractive. So that's good for us. So I certainly have no questions or concerns. Mr. Chair, anything?
Oh, nothing. this is except a comment maybe, it's great that DASNY has seen fit to have the relationships that are necessary to get this kind of financing done. I think our staff has done a fabulous job of making sure that we understand the needs of this client and we're doing what we have to do to get it done. I'm very proud of that. It's a feather in
There
DASNY.
are a lot of moving pieces to those programs, so thank you very much. Okay, so I'll get a motion to recommend approval.
We do it. I'll move that we recommend to the board approval at the board meeting to follow this meeting.
Thank you very much. I'll second that. All in favor? Aye, aye.
Aye.
None opposed. That motion carries. Thank you. I think I have one more matter on the agenda, Portia, which was the Finance Committee Charter, I believe. Are we okay with that?
Yeah, we considered that previously.
No, and no, this is the month for the annual review for the charter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as
So-
long as, there have been no changes recommended by staff, Mr. Chair, so, it was included with the board materials, so if the committee members are okay with it, then this will conclude the review. It doesn't need to go to the board, it's simply an annual review.
Okay, well, I'm good with it, Mr.
And I'm
Chair.
good with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So I don't need to do any resolutions or anything like that.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
And
Okay.
before you adjourn, Mr. Chair, if I may, I just want to state for the record that as folks know, and just because this is available for the public to see and posted, I did just want to note for the record that, this meeting, Finance Committee meeting was scheduled originally for yesterday afternoon, along with DASNY's subsidiary governance meetings as well. And due to weather-related travel delays, we were not able to hold any of those meetings yesterday afternoon, not finance nor any of the governance committee meetings for any of the subsidiaries or DASNY. So consequently, we're holding, the finance committee meeting now. The governance committee meetings for DASNY and the subsidiaries were postponed until April. So I did just want to have that on the record since due to travel delays and the inability to get a quorum together to undertake the necessary business, we were forced to cancel yesterday.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you for quickly adjusting to the weather circumstances. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Sarah.
So I think I just need a motion to adjourn.
I do offer a motion to adjourn the meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and I'll second that, and we'll vote unanimously in favor of that.
Aye.
We'll oppose that, therefore that motion carries, and finance stands adjourned. And just Sarah, do I call back in for the main for the main meeting? What do I do technically?
No, you can just stay on this and given that the meeting was noticed for 9:30, we'll simply stop the recording and then we will start it again up immediately thereafter and we can go right into the board meeting.
Okay, so I'll stay on. Thank you.
Yeah, stay on.